Today I'm going to talk about a tool called the hypothetical resignation exercise. This exercise comes out of a true story. The CEO of this company sends out a memo to all his employees. I'm going to read the memo out here. Pay attention because the memo is interesting. The memo goes like this. Dear fellow employee, I invite you to submit to me your resignation. You do not have to. It is not obligatory. And should you choose not to do so, I assure you there will be no punitive consequences. However, if you do submit to me your resignation and I choose not to accept it, I guarantee a 10% bonus on the spot. Mind you, the letter continues. Should you submit your resignation and I do accept it, your resignation would be deemed to have been submitted voluntarily, accepted by me, and as such, you will not be entitled to any severance. Have a wonderful day. I hope you got a laugh out of that memo. The memo actually went out. First of all, let's make sure you understand the memo. The employees get a choice. They can just stay silent, do nothing at all. Nothing will happen to them. That's what the CEO claims. And in fact, by the way, we held true to that. Second option the employee has is to submit a resignation. If the employee sends the resignation in, the CEO has two options. They can either not accept the resignation, in which case the CEO will give that person 10% bonus, or accept it and the person leaves. I don't recommend any of you actually try sending such a letter out, because there's a fair number of legal things you got to worry about and so on. But it does provoke an interesting thought. Who would actually submit the resignation? In fact, better even before that, what would be the water cooler conversation when that memo goes out? What would people be saying in the water cooler? Let me caricature for you three very distinct water cooler conversations. First, what's happening? I think the CEOs, I think they're going to sell this company. I think they're out of cash. They're trying to get rid of all the expenses. This is an easy way to get rid of expenses, you know. I think they're going to sell this company. This company is sold, man. Fear. Fear is the conversation. That's possible. Here's a very distinct water cooler conversation that might occur. Hey, what's up with the CEO? He's gone berserk. He's gone nuts. He's playing all these mind games. I'm not going to play these mind games. I'm just going to do my job. Indifference, kind of a detachment. A third, very distinct water cooler conversation. Hey, bring it on. You need me more than I need you. Why 10%? Why not 20%? Challenge. You see, there's nothing right or wrong about any one of these three water cooler conversations. What is important is that if you have a person with a challenge mindset living in a fear environment, you see, they're going to be disempowered just at the water cooler by the conversation that goes on. Or worse, imagine the other way. Somebody with a fear mindset living in an environment that's all about challenge. Oh, that poor person, they're going to soil their pants. You see, what is important is that you be very clear about the water cooler conversation you would like to have, and you amass those people that will have that water cooler conversation. So I offer you the hypothetical resignation exercise as a tool. Here's how that exercise goes. You don't actually send the letter out, but you pretend like you sent the letter out. You don't actually send it out. You gather up your executive team, bring them into a conference room, you write down the names of all your employees, and you pretend that you sent this letter out. Pretend. Just pretend. And you ask yourself, have a conversation with your staff. What would this employee say at the water cooler? What would that employee say at the water cooler? After all, if you're a small enough company, you know most of these employees, or at least if you don't talk about all the employees, talk about the top set that you do know. You know these people. You can guess how they might react at the water cooler. Have that conversation. Better yet, ask the question amongst yourselves, which of these people would actually tender their resignation? And even better, ask yourself, which of those resignations might you actually accept? And when one of your staff members, when one of your executives says, oh, if Harry gives me his resignation, I'll actually take it. Don't immediately pounce on that individual and say, why don't you fire Harry? No, let that person talk. Let that person talk about Harry. Harry this and Harry that. Let the other people contribute to the Harry conversation. Let the Harry conversation go on for 5 minutes. At the end of the meeting, rip up all pieces of paper, shred them, wipe up any whiteboards, walk out of that meeting, go back to business. Life in your company would have changed that day forward. You know why? Because that person that talked about Harry this and Harry that, when they walk out of that room, what do you think they're saying to themselves in their head? They're going, why am I putting up with Harry? Why am I living with this Harry that otherwise I would rather he resign? Why don't I instigate that? Why don't I cause that to happen? What can I do to bring the Harry situation to a boil? What can I do to make it happen? That person will figure it out. You don't have to give them any instructions. They'll figure it out. You see, the beauty of that meeting is that you took rational people sitting around the table and you made them intentional. You made them intentional about what they wanted happen, and now they'll figure out how to make it happen. The hypothetical resignation exercise is an eye-opening exercise. Other CEOs have conducted it. I encourage you to give it some thought. The hypothetical resignation exercise.